I just left that 49ers practice field. The best practice and the best news so far of this young season. Kyle Shanahan retook the lectern for his first post-accident press conference, and that was right after the 49ers truly got after it, their longest session. Back and forth it went. Upton Stout, I have to say, is going to be a star in two senses of the word. That was the position that Jalen Ramsey played under Raheem Morris in LA. Adaptable all over the back end. Pick 6 today for Upton Stout, and he flipped over the goal line. A little bit of superstar style for the young player. More superstar style coming from Zhaun Stribling. Neon green shoes for the 49ers rookie wide receiver. Bold fashion choice. Something that Deebo Samuel did in his first practice back with the 49ers. Normally you don't see a rookie put on those types of shoes because, well, you've got to deliver if you're making a fashion statement like that. And Zhaun Stribling, first practice back at team drills, did deliver. Brock Purdy's first throw today, outbreaker, complete. Zhaun Stribling, who just looks the part. The guy is big, he moves well, he catches everything thrown his direction.
I wouldn't really say nothing's been easy, just kind of adapting to how everything is up here, just the tempo of everything. Nothing has been too hard for me, but I also feel like just the play speed level, kind of just timing the snap, being able to jump off the ball full speed and get into my route. It's definitely different from college and just clapping, or just, having like a silent count versus having an actual cadence.
You can tell he's a humble guy, very buttoned up, son of a Marine, and, maybe you could even say the anti-Brandon Ayuk. 49ers didn't want any drama at that receiver position. Zhaun Stribling is a no-nonsense guy. Does have the flashy shoes, but so far when he's been available during team drills, he has performed up to the fashion choice. A lot happened at practice today, headlined by Kyle Shanahan's removal of sunglasses. Didn't have sunglasses when he was out there on that field for the 49ers. That indicated that big progress has been made since the concussion. And then Kyle Shanahan surprised us by taking the lectern in the media room instead of Clay Kubiak, the offensive coordinator who is scheduled to go today. And I'll have to say that Kyle Shanahan seemed very sharp and fresh, which is big news. He did say that he's going to coach the 49ers preseason opener against the Tennessee Titans, which is coming up on Thursday. So Kyle still has some headaches and fatigue from the concussion suffered in that car accident, but by and large, it looks like the 49ers leader is back and ready to go, and there cannot be any news that is better than that. Here are Kyle Shanahan's initial impressions of this 49ers team.
I like our team. I feel like we came into this camp better on paper than we did last year. Just with a number of rookies we were dependent on last year, got to play more, and I love the guys that we've added this year. By no means do I see how we are come week one. We still got a lot of work to do. Some days we take a step forward, the next day we take 2 steps back, but that's training camp. And a number of the guys that we really want to push to work with, those guys aren't always out there. So just find through those things.
Now, as far as the car accident, there isn't much more to talk about on that front. It was an accident. Kyle Shanahan took responsibility, and those of us who are normal move on with our lives very rationally. Shanahan did add one more piece of information that he had not wanted to be public up until this point. He said that he thought that his Tesla's Autopilot feature was on. He's not sure if he accidentally turned it off or it malfunctioned. He still took full responsibility for the accident. He said, autopilot or not, it's my responsibility for the car to stay on its side of the road, but just one more detail added. Remember that when I was in Kyle Shanahan's office, that was not even 2 weeks ago. He was looking in much rougher shape back then. Today, again, you saw him up there. He might shave the mustache, by the way, even though he says it might have saved his life with the visor splitting his face nearly in half there. But Kyle Shanahan said that the mustache might not last, even though his friends have said you got to keep it because it might have saved your life. Anyway, business as usual for Kyle Shanahan at the podium is a good thing. On to what happened at practice. There's Gracen Halton. I want you to keep that rookie, number 93, in your mind here as we go through this video of the sled drill with Chris Kasarik, because there's a cool little twist at the finish. Romelo Height, we'll hear from him today, 49ers rookie, second round pick. There is a look at James Thompson and Sebastian Valdez, two defensive tackles, young defensive tackles, and Bryson Eason on the left there, another young defensive tackle turning heads. There's Gracen Halton coming back in for round 2. He volunteered for round 2. So 49ers, Chris Kasarik is going to like that. There was only one defensive lineman set to go there at the very end, so one of the sled spots was open. Halton, who went at the start of the drill, decided to go in for more. And when we talk about what happened in practice today, Gracen Halton, he might be the most vocal player out on that field. He had a big run stop during the very competitive session and let out another bellow. You can hear it on the sidelines whenever Gracen Halton out of Oklahoma makes a play. He definitely has been impressive for the 49ers over the course of the last few practices, ever since he came back from that bone bruise in his knee. If you go up to my X account, I've got a long list of highlights from today's practice because it was a long session, but we'll begin with Brock Purdy, who had been essentially flawless against this 49ers defense, 24 of 28, missing his top 5 wide receivers over the previous 2 practices. Today, Purdy threw a pair of interceptions, maybe even 2 pick sixes. One of them was a pick 6 for sure. I told you about Upton Stout flipping over the goal line. The first one, though, came during a timed period of hurry-up offense in the red zone. So what they did is they put the score up on the board. It was 26-21. Defense was ahead of the offense. They gave the offense 20 seconds, essentially 2 plays with no timeouts from the 10-yard line. And the first go-round, Purdy hit Sincere McCormick, running back for about a 7-yard gain to the 3. Clock was ticking. Purdy got the hurry-up offense all sorted out and got the snap off with about 7 seconds left. So it was the final play, 4th down from the 3-yard line. He found Luke Farrell for the touchdown. Now Farrell, that's quite the story. He only had 11 catches last year. Wasn't very good for the 49ers last year. It was a big-time free agent pickup for them, but they needed more from him, and it looks like they may get more from Luke Farrell. He's become one of Purdy's most reliable targets over this training camp, including the recipient of the touchdown pass from Brock Purdy on that 4th down. Then the first team offense went at it again, and on 4th down, Purdy was looking for Demarcus Robinson. Nobody was open. Clock was expiring, down 26-21. So he had to force a ball in there. He can't just throw that away. Diameter Lenore, because Robinson wasn't open, stepped in front of it, and it would have been a 100-yard pick 6. So Lenore's had a good camp. The 49ers DBs, I think, really enjoy playing under Raheem Morris. And in this particular instance, Diameter Lenore got a big play. Second team went, we saw Mac Jones roll out, and he took advantage of the rookie receiver Wesley Grimes' height, 6'2". On the rollout, we saw Mac Jones toss one high up into the air, and Grimes climbed the ladder to make a nice touchdown catch. The Upton Stout interception came later, after the 49ers had finished that ultra-competitive red zone time period. They're back to normal move the ball stuff, and Upton Stout hopped in front of another pass from Purdy to Demarcus Robinson, returned it maybe 25 yards across the goal line, flipped over the line for the touchdown. And I just remembered what Raheem Morris said the other day about Upton Stout.
Stout can play whatever he wants. Stout can play linebacker. Stout can play safety. Stout can play corner. Right now he is our starting star. He's our starting nickel. And him going out there playing at a very high level with his hand usage, his ability to get after the pass rush, his ability to pass rush, his ability to use his short space quickness, defend anything, whether it be zone, whether it be man. Highly competitive young man, stays angry every single day. I love him. He's got the mindset of a football player, and he's got the mentality of a football player, and he certainly has the movement and the skill set of a football player.
Remember Jalen Ramsey for that LA defense? I think that Brandon Staley actually introduced that when he was the defensive coordinator of the Rams in 2020, the star position, playing everywhere, inside, outside cornerback, some linebacker, some safety. That is what Upton Stout is going to do for the 49ers. Even more confirmation from Raheem Morris, who coached Ramsey in 2021 when the Rams won a Super Bowl. Even more confirmation that the 49ers are going to be emulating some of that blueprint. And Upton Stout is with his build, I mean, he's a ball of muscle. I think that his lack of height might help him close to the line of scrimmage because he could squeeze in between blocks, but he still is extremely physical. His ability to even cover to the boundary, as we have seen now over the course of this training camp, I mean, he even tried to go toe-to-toe with Mike Evans. It wasn't a very fair fight with that jump ball, but this guy is a stud. And I think that he's going to fit that role that Raheem Morris asked of Jalen Ramsey in the past and is obviously an ask of this 49ers defense now. He wants to make that back end much more adaptable. Stout also had a pass breakup today, a diving pass breakup. Jordan Watkins was the receiver. Reminded me a lot of Upton Stout's pass breakup on 4th down in the playoffs against Devontae Smith and the Philadelphia Eagles. That was really a big introductory moment for Upton Stout on the national stage. We're probably going to have several more of those highlights this season. Now, speaking of the secondary, today was Nate Hobbs' best day of practice by far. Veteran defensive back who I think is much better playing on the inside than on the outside. I think the Packers played him out of position, but back when he was with the Raiders, he was a better inside cornerback. He had 3 pass breakups today. One against Jordan Watkins, one against Junior Bergen. I mean, Nate Hobbs, we hadn't heard from him all that much over the course of this training camp. We heard from him today. Jack Jones was the veteran addition at the defensive back position at cornerback who we had actually heard from a little bit more. I mean, he's been very, very active, made another play today, but today was about Nate Hobbs on the back end. Good arrow up day for the 49ers cornerback depth. The past couple days, I've been talking a lot about the offensive line because there's been a major shift there. Connor Colby is no longer taking first team reps. Connor Colby is now the second and the third team, and they're also playing him at right guard on top of left guard, which tells me that they're auditioning Connor Colby for a backup spot, not the starting left guard spot where Robert Jones is currently taking the first team reps. Today during one-on-ones, Connor Colby did not look good. He's not looked great throughout any of the padded portion of camp in one-on-ones. Today he lost essentially every single rep, including 2 that he lost to James Thompson, the defensive tackle out of the University of Illinois, the taller of the 2 undrafted free agent defensive tackles. It is looking rough right now for Connor Colby as the 49ers try to figure out what they're going to do at that left guard position. Will it be Robert Jones, played under Mike McDaniel in Miami? Is the option even on the roster right now? I did find out about Brett Toth's injury. I know I've done a couple shows talking about this, and I'd been saying it's an undisclosed injury for Brett Toth. It is a concussion. The 49ers did disclose that today. Toth was standing on the sideline watching practice with Carver Willis, who's also in the concussion protocol. Those are 2 potential options to compete with Robert Jones and Connor Colby at left guard, but those guys are both out of practice with concussions as we speak, so that's something that the 49ers are going to have to resolve moving forward. They did not yet sign one of the 3 centers whom they worked out yesterday. A possibility is signing one of those centers and then moving Brett Toth into the starting left guard position. He might be the 49ers' best left guard option. He started a couple games for Philly last year at left guard and was actually fairly good. Then we have Romelo Height. We've got to talk about Romelo Height, who today had a very, very interesting few reps against Colton McKivitz in one-on-ones. But first, listen to the advice that Romelo Height is taking.
The practice, I'll go pick Trent Brain and, ask him what he's seen on, a certain rep and things like that. And he give me great feedback. So
yes, sources tell me that it is smart to consult Trent Williams for feedback after practices, and that is what Romelo Height is doing. But during one-on-ones, he had a matchup with Colton McKivitz working against right tackle. First rep, Height lost his footing, McKivitz won the rep. So then Height lined up against McKivitz again, and he jumped off sides twice. This is something that Greg Scruggs, who's the assistant defensive line coach, and Chris Kasarik, obviously the head man in the room, they've been really, really hammering home over this training camp. They're trying to run a bunch of hard counts during these one-on-ones, trying to get these young defensive linemen to read those hard counts and stay on side. It didn't work 2 straight reps for Romelo Height. Finally, he got a clean one off against McKivitz, and it went much better than his first rep. Worked outside first, but then a wicked spin move. I could even do a little bit of a spin move here. It was about that fast, actually, for Romelo Height against Colton McKivitz. Spin move inside. It would have been a relatively clean win for Romelo Height, who is very, very fast. Maybe the most impressive rookie on the defensive side of the ball for the 49ers of this training camp. Here is a quote from Romelo Height about the cross-training happening. We talk about the 49ers defensive roles, so versatile and adaptable under Morris. Well, one of the key changes is that edge rushers playing and dropping back as an outside linebacker much more often. Listen to this.
That's something, I expected coming in here, to be moved around with my body type. So I've just been, being where my feet are and, wherever they put me, wherever they move me around at, I do it.
Now, why don't we move to the most impressive rookie on the offensive side of the ball, Zhaun Stribling. I've mentioned this a few times. Big for the 49ers. With Height, it's been huge as well. 6 colleges, 6 years, a lot of different schemes that he's had to learn and succeed in. Well, the 49ers believe that has made him more ready to perform right away. Same thing with Stribling. 3 different colleges, 3 different schemes. Here are his thoughts on how that's benefited him.
Yeah, just kind of having the mindset to learn different things, be able to come in and listen, ask questions, take a lot of notes, just to have a better understanding as the offense.
Now, since Kyle Shanahan did take the lectern today, I think it's smart to hear from Kyle Shanahan on Stribling and, of course, the big injury, the one that will hurt the 49ers for this entire season, to Ricky Pearsall.
I mean, losing Ricky was a real big deal. I mean, that's we've had a number of injuries in camp, but that's really the only one that's actually been not just a camp injury. And losing a player like Ricky is a huge deal. It ties to everybody. So you'd hope for Stribling, you hope for Mike, you hope for that whole group. You hope a lot of people have to step up, but no one here is wired exactly how Ricky is. They're all a little bit different, so you do lose a big part of what we were planning on. And that's where guys do have to step up. That's what gets frustrating when guys like Stribling, tweak a muscle and stuff, because, you want guys to step up, but you got to train them to do it. They got to work to do it, and they got to be out there to be able to do it at an NFL level, which is coming real fast.
And here is more confirmation of what I've been telling you ever since the 49ers signed Deebo Samuel, even what I've been telling you since before they signed Deebo Samuel. This is not a plug and play, let's put Deebo into Ricky Pearsall's old Z receiver role. They have Deebo to be Deebo, which is, I would say, a glorified gadget weapon on this offense. And again, I mean that as a compliment because Deebo is such a unique player. But Kyle Shanahan was asked about if Deebo Samuel will fill that Ricky Pearsall role. And his answer is confirmation of what we've been saying.
Not really. I mean, they're just 2 completely different types of players. Deebo was someone that, we were hoping it would work out, depending on Deebo's other opportunities and what it could be here. But that was something that we were hoping for a long time could work out, and it ended up working out for both of us. But that, the Ricky thing changed nothing.
And as we speak right now, back in Canton, Ohio, Roger Craig inducted into the Hall of Fame. Big congratulations to the first man to go 1,000, and a great group of 49ers on hand for Roger Craig. One of the nicest people you ever meet. Extremely deserving of being inducted into the Hall of Fame. In fact, that one would argue, I definitely would, I think many surrounding the 49ers would argue that it is way past time for Roger Craig to be inducted into that Hall of Fame. Sad news has become public, though, and this came via Roger Craig's induction speech.
Today, there's another chapter I want to share. I've been diagnosed with vascular dementia that my doctors believe may be related, at least in part, to the concussions I experienced during my career.
Our prayers are with Roger Craig and his family. I am very happy that he was able to enjoy his induction into the Hall of Fame, that it didn't take. Our prayers are with Roger Craig and his family. Happy that he was able to enjoy this induction into the Hall of Fame. And this means a whole heck of a lot to 49ers fans and the organization, but obviously it means the most to Roger Craig. And congratulations to him. Obviously a sobering note delivered at his Hall of Fame induction speech. Make sure to check out the post on X and all the work on the San Francisco Standard for the full rundown. I know I give you guys almost everything here. There's a lot to go through. Even another Junior Bergen catch today, thrown a little bit behind him by Curtis Rourke, who seemed a tad late on some of his throws, but Bergen, tough receiver. I still think he's going to make that 53-man roster. We will see with some of these preseason games. They're going to be big for the defensive tackle competition. See James Thompson, Bryson Eason, Sebastian Valdez, the Hulk work, but we're going to get to see Bergen. Hopefully Jacob Cowan can be back by then. Only one injury added today is Luke Gifford, the linebacker, with a hamstring injury for the 49ers. Otherwise, you're getting guys back like a Zhaun Stribling. And the 49ers now are going to have a player's day off Sunday. Block 3 of practice is finished, so we're essentially halfway through training camp. Starting on Monday, it's going to be block 4. Remember, they're going 2 days on full practice. So Monday will be a practice here at Levi's, or at the facility across from Levi's. Tuesday will be a joint practice here with the Tennessee Titans and their coach Robert Saleh. Wednesday is going to be walkthrough day. Thursday, Levi's Stadium. I guess this is time to flip this around. We can take a look at the helmet and we can take a look at the stadium. On Thursday, the preseason opener against Saleh and the Tennessee Titans will happen right here. So thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe. We're going to have much more in the way of updates coming soon. Congratulations to Roger Craig, whom we will keep in our prayers.